Hello everyone, you're watching Fun with Flags and History, and today we're going to talk about the Greek Military Junta. Let's jump into it. The current regime of this video has many names in Greece. The regime of the colonels, the 7-year regime, the Greek junta. But the most known terminology of this government is the Greek Military Junta, or the Greek Military Government. It existed from 1967, when it first rose to power on April 21st, to 1974, when pressure from a Turkish invasion to Cyprus caused the government to collapse. But the one thing we all like to wonder is why. Why does this government exist? This video will answer that. After the defeat of Nazi Germany in World War II by the Allied powers consisting of the United States, the United Kingdom, the Fourth French Republic, the Soviet Union, and other nations that took part in the fighting, a new series of proxy wars were beginning to form that would determine which countries would be aligned with the Soviet Union and other communist countries, and ones that were pro-democratic ones aligned with capitalism, such as the United States. One of those nations plagued with fighting was the Kingdom of Greece and its Greek Civil War. The Kingdom of Greece was a nation that was plagued with an Axis invasion of the nation late into the war, with it being liberated by anti-fascist guerrilla fighters. Out of the two groups that fought against the Nazis and Fascist Italy, the Communist National Liberation Front, or ELAS for short in the Hellenic language, dominated this effort, as they were the more popular party, which later gained way for the Communist Party of Greece, its political front, to attempt to seize power later on in this war. By 1944, the National Republican Greek League, or EDES for short, each saw each other to be greater enemies, as the EDES believed in social and physical liberalism, while the ELAS was aligned with Marxism-Leninism and worked closely with communist countries such as the People's Republic of Bulgaria, the People's Republic of Albania, and the People's Federal Republic of Yugoslavia. They both knew that Germany was going to be defeated in Greece and the war was going to end soon with Germany, which would thus lead to new fighting. By the summer of 1944, it was becoming obvious Germany was going to withdraw from Greece. Not long after, Soviet forces led by Soviet General Fyodor Tobolkin forced the pro-Axis government of Bulgaria to resign, and a new pro-Soviet communist government was established. The fall of Nazi Germany on May 23, 1945, marked the end of World War II when Karl Donitz surrendered to the Axis powers. With the end of World War II, then started the Greek Civil War a year later, in 1946, or rather resumed it. This phase of the Civil War was different from previous iterations that went on. The ELAS and the EAM, another political organization aligned with the ELAS, formed a government alongside its official political party they aligned with, the Communist Party of Greece, or KKE for short in Greek. This government was called the Provisional Democratic Government of Greece and was backed by the People's Republic of Albania, the People's Republic of Bulgaria, and the Socialist Federal Republic of Yugoslavia. Interestingly, unlike other covert and overt power struggles that were socialist in nature, the Soviet Union did not help the Provisional Democratic Republic of Greece. Instead, the Soviet Union refused to help the Greeks due to the Stalin-Tito split, as they argued over how the Greek Civil War should end. In the end, the anti-communist Kingdom of Greece, supported by the United States and the United Kingdom, along with its armed forces, won out against the Provisional Democratic Government of Greece and its Democratic Army, led by the Communist Party of Greece. Even though the monarchists had won, this would be their final victory, as the stage was being set for what would be the Greek military coup of 1967. In 1947, not long after the Greek Civil War, President Truman of the United States created the Truman Doctrine, which was formed to give economic boosting to Western Europe to influence these Western nations and to prevent them from falling to influence from the Soviet Union, as the feelings of distrust and dislike between the United States and the Soviet Union began in the late 1940s after the passing of Truman's successor, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. This influence was especially important to the United States when it came to the Balkans. The reason for this is because the Balkans had strong influence from the Soviet Union and from Yugoslavia, who had decided to work independently from the Soviet Union after the Stalin-Tito split. In other words, Greece was nearly surrounded by nations that adhered themselves to various communist ideologies. In 1945, many military officers from the Collaborationist Security Battalions of Greece formed a secret society called the Holy Bond of Greek Officers. This group would be influential in Greek politics later on, as not only were the Holy Bond given a sum of $1 million annually by the Central Intelligence Agency, but that it would include influential Greek officers in their ranks, such as Colonel Georgios Papadopoulos of both the Hellenic Army and the Greek Collaborationist Security Battalions that were active during World War II. Not long after the defeat of the communist forces in the Greek Civil War and influence from the Central Intelligence Agency, the Communist Party of Greece was outlawed and many communists fled Greece or faced persecution by Greek authorities. Soon enough, the CIA and Greek military began to work closely together, especially with Greece's introduction into NATO, or the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, in 1952. Fascinatingly, in that same year as Greece's introduction into NATO, the Holy Bond made a statement that foreshadowed the fate of Greece soon enough, that Greece should be under a dictatorship to prevent the rise of any communism in Greece, and that this dictatorship will take care of all of Greece's problems. This, however, is disputed by many, including Greek scholar Christos Kazimieris, who has said that the statement is astonishing since the defeat of the communists at the end of World War II gave way for economic prosperity and stability in the region. Kazimieris argued that Papadopoulos had influence in writing this manifesto and that he wrote it in the case for personal ambition rather than the prevention of the rise of communist forces, as we would later see. To further add things to the fire, the change of a more progressive and liberal prime minister in Greece compared to the long leadership of conservative politicians in Greece was a major upset, especially to the young king Constantine II. In an attempt to have more power than his constitutional powers were allowed as the king of Greece, the inexperienced king of Greece clashed with his liberal reformers, including Greek Prime Minister Georgios Papandreou. In July 1964, Papandreou had intentions to fire military officers belonging to the secret society the Holy Bond, which the king had problems with this firing and was against it. King Constantine II saw it as his royal duty to protect these officers. This duty to protect these officers backfired considerably for the younger king, as protests occurred in Athens, with them being more republican in nature than a monarchist one. As such, the king of Greece fired Papandreou and caused the political crisis known as the Apostasia of 1965. After making constant attempts to form a new government using dissident figures within Papandreou's own political party, the Center Union, and conservative MPs, King Constantine II was able to form an interim government with Ioannidis Paraskevopoulos being in charge of the government as its acting prime minister. Elections were being scheduled for May 28, 1967, with predictions outlining that Papandreou's party would come out on top, but would not have enough votes to be able to secure a complete victory for the government as prime minister. This has led to speculation that the Center Union would work closely with the United Democratic Left, a political party that was supposedly a front for the banned Communist Party of Greece, as it was speculated by many. This speculation of Papandreou's party working with a suspected communist party outlawed the justification for a coup d'etat to take place on the King of Greece and his democratic government. On the 21st of April 1967, just weeks prior to the Greek parliamentary elections, A collective of military officers from the Greek military launched a coup against the Greek parliament and the king of Greece. The colonel belonging to the Greek army were able to quickly and successfully overthrow the government and take power through elements of surprise and confusion. The coup leaders placed armored vehicles in strategic points in Athens, and small mobile units were dispatched to various locations to arrest suspected left-wing leaders. During the coup, the king was asked to counter-mobilize the military against the coup, as suggested by his advisors. He, however, relented and instead gave in. By the early hours of the next morning, the Greek military was in full control of the government with no one else to stand in their way. King Constantine II swore in the military leaders as the official government of Greece, legitimizing their rule. So now, nothing can stop them. Alright guys, if you appreciated this video and liked it, be sure to give it a like and share it to anyone that might be interested in this series. If you have any thoughts or opinions, comments or questions, please leave a comment down below. I would gladly appreciate it. Like our page on Facebook, and if you enjoy historical content like this, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell so you know exactly when I'll upload. This is Frank Perry of Fun with Flags and History signing off. Have a good one.